Today on the channel, we're going to take a look at Life magazine, the Van Halen special from March of 2021. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a look at Life magazine back from March of 2021. This was released shortly after the sad and untimely death of Eddie Van Halen, and this is a pretty nice tribute to Van Halen. It's a good magazine, so I'm going to take a look at it today. So it's got the Dave years and Sammy years and all the inside stories. It's an excellent photo of the guys right there. I love that. All right, so we'll take a look. This is pretty cool. The inside front cover's got the Van Halen stripes on it. I remember when Eddie passed away that there were so many billboards across the country that just had the Van Halen stripes and a bunch of tributes to Eddie Van Halen. That was pretty amazing to see. Sad, but just great tribute. Nice picture here. Eddie looks tired or something. We might classify that as or something. All right, next page. It's got to be a 5150 tour picture. I always loved Eddie's pants and his tank tops on the 5150 tour. I thought they looked cool. I still think they look cool. Heck, I would wear this on stage. But I'm an 80s guy, man. I love it. Cool. A guitar genius, a rock and roll innovator, Eddie Van Halen brought the unforgettable combination of joy and virtuosity to his music. Many have tried to copy his signature style. None has succeeded. I would agree to that. That's a pretty rad shirt he's got here. I love this vinyl looking appearance with these checkered plaid lining. Cool. I always check out the wardrobe from the 70s and 80s. You only have 12 notes, Eddie Van Halen said. Do whatever you want with them. Great shot of the bumblebee. Eddie's wearing knee pads so he can slide all over the place. Check out those shoes. Those are pretty wild. Eddie's sitting at 5150 Studios. God, what I wouldn't do to go in 5150 and just look around in there. Play some of them tapes. There's Eddie launching off the ground. I swear that guy could defy gravity. I mean, talk about energy. I don't think I could ever jump that high even when I was in my teens. All the world's a stage. Road warriors. Van Halen thrived on tour, especially in the early days, including this 1981 stop in Detroit. Detroit Rock City, man. Oh, wrong band. Split personality. Being on stage is like being in the jungle, David Lee Roth once told in an interview. It gets really hot, reaches about 110 degrees by the second song, and you're out of wind, and you're limping, and you barely make it to the next song. Look at him launch, man. What a jump. Check out the big ghetto blaster there. I wonder what they were listening to. I wonder what these guys played on the boom boxes back then, backstage. Mikey's bell bottoms. This is kind of a rare shot here. Eddie wearing these cow print pants. Another 5150 tour shot. I love this Beretta, this red Beretta Sammy played. That thing is so cool. Seeing red, Sammy Hagar aka the Red Rocker, joined the band in '86, and they immediately hit the road. I felt so comfortable with the music that we were playing. Hagar with Anthony on tour. Hagar said in an interview with Dan Rather 30 years later, but I was nervous on that first show because I didn't feel that the audience was going to sit there and listen to us play a bunch of new stuff. But we came out and we opened the show and they knocked the barricade down and came rushing up. And the rest was history. There's the Roth reunion tours. One of these dates. That looks like that was probably, looking at Wolfgang, I would say that was probably 2012. Eddie got that big stack of EVH amps behind him. Bursting onto the scene. As the 70s were winding down, a rowdy quartet of teenage California rockers introduced themselves loudly to the world. Roth bonded with the Van Halen brothers because they were all desperate people seeking desperate fortune with a smile. What bag is this? Wonder where they were shopping. I can't make it out. Eddie, classic photo. We've all seen a million times before with him and his effects in the atomic bomb. I wonder where that atomic bomb is these days. Does anybody know where this stuff is? It's got to be on display somewhere. This has to be his Variac or attenuator that he built, I would think. Or Echoplex, maybe. Looks like Al on a tour bus. Van Halen on roller skates. Interesting. Back in the 70s, everything had wood paneling. I mean, this wood paneling. It's funny when you look at pictures from the 70s when you see all that wood paneling. It's like, it's so rustic looking. So Eddie got the cigarette on this guitar string, of course. Playing Frankie. Look how clean that Floyd is. That looks like a brand new Floyd Rose. That thing is so sharp and shiny. Wonder how often he replaced Floyd Roses and things like that. They must be doing, maybe they're doing Happy Trails there. Nah, they wouldn't be doing Happy Trails. They're probably just mugging for the shot. First impressions, the band's self-titled debut album was a musical triumph from start to finish. Indeed it was. The World Vacation Tour, 1978 or 79, including a stop at the Nippon Budokan in Tokyo, was the band's first as a headlining act. How about that? 79, they were headlining in Budokan. And look at all this. The unrelenting pace of the touring continued in 82 and 83 when the band embarked on the Hide Your Sheep tour in support of Diver Down. I didn't know that was called the Hide Your Sheep tour. In addition to performing in the United States and Canada, the band also toured South America for the first time. Dave with his security, I guess, his personal assistants. I don't know who this chick is. Wardrobe, maybe. There's Eddie once again in the cow print. There's the Frankenstein. Instruments of magic. Like a mad scientist, Eddie spent hours tinkering with perfect sound. Grammatically incorrect there. Life magazine. Eddie bouncing off his amps. They blew us off the stage every night. It was so embarrassing. They kicked our asses, says Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, who would want to have Van Halen open for them back in those days? Heck no. The Hide Your Sheep tour proved to be grueling, a grueling string of dates that still featured a band working its tail off every night. Al looking like a prisoner with his striped outfit, lighting up the gong. Pretty amazing. The perfect mix, a new sound and old values conspired to deliver a masterpiece. Despite his rock god status and trend-setting styles, Eddie, on stage with the band in '78, Day on the Green concert in Oakland, did not think of himself as cool. "I am much geekier than those kids dreaming about being me," he told the Rolling Stone in 1984. How about that? Oh, man, it's a great shot of Val. Check out Valerie. She got the cigarette and the beer there. Cheetah print. Smoking a cigarette, drinking a bud. Eddie looking happy. What's that shirt up here that Eddie's got on? I don't remember seeing that before. Van Halen in concert. Huh. This was the 1984 uniform. He even wore that in the Michael Jackson Beat It live footage. Al with his bedazzled drums, those reflectors that would light up when the lights hit him. For the 1984 tour Above and Opposite, which would be Roth's final with this version of this band, little expense was spared. If he asked us, we'd have said that we were burning money to put on an unforgettable experience for fans. That's the way you do it. You play your guitar on your MTV. Their stage in 1984 remind me of just like a bunch of boom boxes and home stereos. It's looks rough, but it looks so cool. Life magazine caught up with the band on tour in Detroit in 1982 and saw firsthand the wild partying that went on behind the scenes. All right, here comes 5150 time. There's a young Sammy Hagar and Edward. I like how people just throw their clothes up on stage. Sammy always puts on people's clothes. I think that's so funny. He'll wear your hat. He'll wear your sunglasses. Spray paint your shoes. There's Eddie in some slick blue pants. Looks like some spacesuit or something. I don't know what Sammy had going on with this shirt. This is kind of weird. Now that is not a Van Halen picture. That's just talking about Sammy in his early career. Eddie's hair looks a little unusual there, the way it's caught in that photo. Such great times. The amount of wear and tear that Eddie always had on his necks, this is like unrelicked. The sheer fact that, I mean, every single fret on his guitar, even like past the 22nd, 23rd fret, man, you can see wear and tear on it, where you don't even play. I mean, that guy played every square inch of that guitar. Every day. And he played, evidently he also played Sammy's guitar. Sammy's guitar probably had some wear and tear on it from Eddie. Eddie giving Sammy the reach around. There's Sammy playing one of these weird wonky looking Washburns. The 5150 tour stretched from late March to early November in 1985, including Above in Memphis, Tennessee. Don't really recall seeing Sammy wearing shades on stage on any of those 5150 shots. That Sound, the first album with Sammy Hagar, proved that there was more than one way to rock. And there they are doing One Way to Rock, where they all start kicking and bouncing around. I love that scene in Live Without a Net when it starts off, when he's like, "Hello, New Haven," and the lights hit. Man, the energy is on like 11, 12, man. It's just, whew, love it. I think it's funny they put a picture of Eddie in here with a Music Man. They're talking about 5150. So Life's they kind of go back and forth on some of their pictures. This is back when bands sold millions and millions of records. I guess that was probably when they got certified platinum or diamond. The next three records, Oh You Wait One Two, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and Balance, certified multi-platinum status. Back in those days, if you only sold like 1 million or 2, it was considered sometimes a failure. Nowadays, a record company would crap its pants if you sold a couple million records as a band, as opposed to 100,000 units or whatever. By the mid-90s, the tension between Hagar and the band was hard to ignore. He was especially irritated by the fact that I began to get involved with the lyric writing, Eddie told Guitar World. Sammy, that was in 1996. Yeah, I don't know if we can really hold that true. There was some stuff going on in 96. I don't know if I believe Sammy or Eddie's story. Both of them had kind of sour grapes going on. Sammy would say, "You never complained about the lyrics before." Well, I wasn't sober before, and I wasn't even listening to the lyrics. Those are just grumpy guys arguing, man. I think Eddie listening to the fans or someone saying, "Sammy doesn't write good lyrics." Well, clearly they sold millions and millions and millions of records, so does it really matter? Anyways, the band really does have a lot of fun. In 10 years, we'll hate each other like every other band, but I don't think so. He said maybe in 10 years. There's that Kramer again. He's got a 55 sticker on it. Look at Al, man. He's got the mustache and his hair, his headband. Looks like he's wearing his pajamas. Like, come on, Al. Can you wear something beside your pajamas? I'm just kidding. Alex and Eddie teamed up with to write the instrumental "Respect the Wind" for the soundtrack to the 1996 blockbuster Twister. That's a really cool song. Actually, Alex played the keyboards rather than drums, and Eddie on guitar. I think that's when we all realized as fans that, man, Alex can play some keyboards. We knew he was trained, but hadn't really heard him play anything besides drums. Sammy's got on a No Violence shirt. By the time the band toured in 95, Eddie and Sammy were traveling in separate planes and staying in different hotels. That's just unfortunate, man. I think they were at their peak. But bands don't stay together long. I mean, it just doesn't happen. 10 years is about it. The 1995 tour, including a stop at the Target Center in Minneapolis above, was Hagar's last. That was a really, really good trip for 11 years, he told Fortune in 2000. Great music, great friends. It just ended bad. It's like a bad movie. No, it's like a great movie with a bad ending. I'd agree. Target Center in Minneapolis. I wonder if there's any bootlegs of that show. There's got to be. That was the last show with Sammy. Well, until 2004, that weird reunion. All right, here comes the encore performances when Wolfgang was like in 10th grade, got the band back together. I personally think Wolfgang was responsible for pulling Eddie out of his pit, that unfortunate time period. And we owe a lot to Wolfgang, whether you like it or not. This was the final incarnation of Van Halen in their 2007 tour. I saw that tour. I saw the first date, or the second date rather. They were awesome. Everybody was saying they were using canned vocals. It's funny. This came out we got one page for the encore performances. One page, Life. That's it. One page. They did 3 tours with this incarnation. They toured through 2015, and they put out a record. What do we get after this? We get the Gary Cherone page. Gary Cherone came before that, and they didn't even put anything in here with the reunion tour yet. Maybe there's something here. I don't know. What'd they say here about the Gary Cherone era? It gets like 3 paragraphs. Van Halen fans spent much of '96 puzzling over who was and who wasn't in the band. They weren't the only ones. Even the members themselves couldn't settle on a lineup. Eddie reminded me of Jimmy Page during the 3 era. His soloing on Van Halen 3, like in Year to the Day, stuff like that is very pagey. That's all I'll say about that album in this video. But anyway, so this was the 04 tour. I saw that 3 times. It was spotty. Had the I Love All Access pass for Hershey, which was their second show. That was awesome. Got to go to Soundcheck and do lots of cool stuff. Saw him in Louisville. That was a decent show. Then I saw him in Cincinnati, and that was really good. Kind of a sad years. Parting like it's 1984, so now we're back to the reunion with Roth, 2007. I wonder if that was an EVH guitar, because that was right when EVH started to formulate, or if that was a Charvel. That looks like a Charvel, if you ask me. And then there's Wolfgang, and he's obviously still in like 10th grade. Dave before he got his massive tattoo. There's Ed playing what looks like an EVH guitar. That's not a Wolfgang. That looks like an EVH, I believe. Sorry for the dog drinking water in the background. My dog has to make it in the video at some point, almost every video. If you hear that drinking of the water, that's my dog. There's where they played that bar in New York City when they announced they were going to reunite, and when they were going to do Different Kind of Truth. New York's Greenwich Village. That was our first really view of Dave, and he came out in suspenders and a painter's hat, and I thought, well, okay, can we not just have some kind of normal reunion with this band? Sorry if I'm bagging on it too hard. Thought his stage clothes were cool though. I mean, he looked good on stage. That's a pretty awesome outfit. He does look like a conductor though, I gotta say. Back to a classic shot here. Rock Defined, a dedicated fan and renowned essayist, takes a look at the band's formidable and sometimes complicated legacy. That's a great picture. I'm going to pull this up closer. Looks like they're in the showers backstage at some arena they were playing in. It's a great photo. Here's the essential Van Halen playlist, everybody. In a Simple Rhyme, Ain't Talking About Love, I'm the One, Pound Cake, Everybody Wants Some, Hot for Teacher, Jump, Feel Your Love Tonight, 5150, Panama, Run 'Em with the Devil, Romeo Delight, DOA, Unchained, Dance the Night Away, Eruption. I disagree with this list. We should have Light Up the Sky on here, for sure. I think we should have like Top of the World on there. I think Best of Both Worlds. I mean, how can you pick like an essential list? I mean, you pretty much got to put them all on there, right? Good shot of Ed. I bet you that was taken right outside of his where he lives. Or lived. Who knows? There's a picture of Janie and Eddie, his wife. And then Wolfgang and Ed. He was the best father I could ever ask for. Every moment I've shared with him on and off stage was a gift. My heart is broken, and I don't think I'll ever fully recover from this loss. I love you so much, Pop. And that's true. When you lose a parent, if you're really close, which most of us probably are with our parents, but if you lose your parent or someone like that, it just, they always stay with you. See what Gary Sharon says here. Gary says, I remember one day walking into the studio and had duct tape and fabric in between the keys of the piano, and he would rip them out, and it would make this ungodly sound. And he had guitars all over the floor, and I'm like, what are you doing? He was like an eccentric genius here, trying to find what he heard in his head and trying to get it out. I was just a witness to his genius, who had chosen guitar as his tool. I always thought Ed kind of looked like a vampire, like Dracula in this picture with his collar, all the black. Ever seen the movie Van Helsing, the blooper reels, where instead of saying, "I bring you Van Helsing," the guy says, "I bring you Van Halen." It's a great blooper reel. That's a great way to end this magazine with Roth and Ed. Rock and roller skates. Right, there you go. A guitar is a very personal extension of the person playing it. You have to be emotionally and spiritually connected to your instrument. Rest in peace, Eddie. We love you. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you watched, please hit subscribe and please comment below. Have a great day.